All right, man, peace. So, brothers, I've received quite a few requests in email form or comment form from certain subscribers who wanted me to speak on the concept known as quote-unquote semen retention. And I've already done a video on that topic pertaining to Mr. Cam Newton, asserting that he was going to utilize that mechanism because he believed that it would make him a better athlete, so on and so forth. Well, now, in light of the story that has emerged pertaining to Mr. Joe Budden separating from Cyn Santana, and also this article that I found on his assertion that if he never had sex again, it would not bother him much, I decided to add a volume 2 to this series pertaining to semen retention. And brothers, as I view it, all semen retention is, or that concept is the subjugation of the bottom head. You have to subjugate the bottom head so that when you decide to indulge in the enjoyment of sexual gratification, it has more potency. You can't just conform to every whim of lust that you have. At the end of the day, and I say this all the time, women are wonderful, but you should not be trying to have sex with every last one that you find attractive. It's going to weaken you. It's going to weaken you mentally, spiritually, physically, so on and so forth. Remember that semen is comprised of many important minerals that the body needs. So if you're going to expend it, at least try to do so judiciously. Now, as you get older and you mature, or at least hopefully mature, you start to think less with your bottom head and more with your top head. And that is why you find yourself in less precarious situations, because what you'll find is that most of the precarious situations that you're going to put yourself in throughout your life are going to involve women. The vast majority of men who are incarcerated not because of women, but because of their weakness to the woman. The woman is the main source of temptation that this society or this quote-unquote reality is going to use to subjugate you. So in order for you to subjugate the lesser nature of yourself, that means that you have to control your bottom head. It's very important. So let's see what Mr. Joe Budden has to say here. Joe Budden says he'd be okay with never having sex again, and rumors immediately start flying about why. Brothers, what you'll find when you study life, especially being a so-called black man, is that people believe that they can manipulate you through about 3 or 4 different ways. That being through entertainment, through sex, and through money. And entertainment and money are correlated with sex, because it's very difficult to get sex if you're not entertaining and if you don't have money. Once people see that you can no longer be controlled through your sex, that means that they're in a conundrum. There's an enigma that is before them. They're not quite sure what they can do with you as a so-called black man if they can't control you through sex. Now they're forced to actually have to work harder to get to know you as a person. You understand that? And I always have to use this disclaimer whenever I make these type of statements. Sex is beautiful, but at the end of the day, it can be used to manipulate you as a so-called black man if you're not very careful. What you'll find, especially when you're young and you meet these females who normally are young females, they're going to try to come at you in a very kind and endearing way. They're going to attempt to get into your good graces by throwing their titties and their ass at you. And after a while, you're going to believe that they've changed. No, they have not changed. They just got bored. And it's on to the next for them. And hopefully by the time that they're ready to leave you, they're not going to leave you while making you trail behind them and have you pay the tribute fee, the compensatory tax known as quote-unquote child support. It's very important that cats realize this, especially you brothers out there who are from the ages of about 14 to 21. That's going to be the time period where you might make mistakes that are going to affect you for the rest of your life, if certainly not for the next 18 years after you make that quote-unquote decision. Please understand the nature of the woman. The woman by nature is whimsical. She is capricious. If she's not moderated, she's going to be a source of confusion and chaos in every society that does not moderate her. Okay? So therefore, if you're in a society where the woman is not moderated, that means that you have to moderate yourself even more. So let's see what Joe Budden has to say here. At the very top, it says once again, Joe Budden says he'd be okay with never having sex again, and rumors immediately start flying about why. He hella old. Now, if a woman claims that she's going to embrace abstinence or chastity or what have you, in other words, trying to tighten up them loose ass coochie walls between her legs, everybody says, you go, girl, that's good. Go ahead and purify yourself. But if a man like Joe Budden says he's okay with never having sex again, they're going to try to demonize him. He's old, he's impotent, he's gay, so on and so forth. Things of that nature. because that's the type of society that we live in, where men are constantly being shamed for making certain authoritative decisions that don't revolve around obeisance to the feminine principle. So let's check out this article written by Miss Tia Berger, probably some liberal black woman. Social media has came up with several reasons to why Joe Budden refused to put it down on his girlfriend Cyn Santana after their confrontation on Monday night's season premiere of Love and Hip Hop New York. Brothers, I've never ever in my life seen one of these ridiculous so-called reality shows called Love and Hip Hop. So I'm speaking just from this article. I've never seen the show. I don't know about the relationship dynamics that are displayed on the show. Budden and Santana have been together since 2016 and welcomed a beautiful baby boy into the world last year in December. However, during the latest episode of Love and Hip Hop New York, Santana says she and Budden's sex life has been non-existent since giving birth. Let me say this though, brothers. If you're in a relationship with a female, you cannot just cut off the sex from her. That's like cutting off food, water, air, etc. Sex is a necessity in life, especially if you're in a relationship, and you should not be playing games in that way. If you're going to practice semen retention, you should be single. That's the point of practicing semen retention, is that you're single. In 1 Corinthians 7:4, it tells us that neither the man nor the woman have power over their own body, but their significant other does. In other words, when your significant other wants sex, as Cyn Santana wants sex from Joe Budden, it's his job to do that. That's part of a relationship. A relationship is not just you doing whatever you feel like doing. It's almost like a job. Sometimes you are going to have to do things that you might not be naturally compelled to do to make sure that your partner is gratified or satisfied or what have you. But at the end of the day, you also have to recognize that you're in a quote-unquote toxic relationship with somebody else. And a lot of these motherfuckers out here are toxic. All right? A lot of people are toxic. And if you know that you yourself are toxic, then you need to fall back for a while. Maybe you do need to practice some semen retention and get your shit together, fast or pray or what have you. Get yourself right before you decide that you want to deal with somebody else. Point being is this. Joe Budden is with someone, so he can't really practice semen retention per se. But I do recognize where he's at in his life. He's at the point right now where pussy is not the steak anymore, it's the cake. It's not the main course of the meal, it's the dessert. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It's not that big a deal. And I'm sure that right now, Joe Budden would say that he's at the best point in his life that he's ever been at, because he's no longer controlled or manipulated by the whims of this world when it comes to sexual gratification. Once you understand those things, that's when you become empowered as a man. You no longer are privy to the distraction of the woman. That's why I tell cats all the time, the woman is a far more sexual creature than the man is. They try to demonize men and claim that men are over-sexualized, so on and so forth. All you have to do is walk down the street. It's not men outside with their zipper down and their penis swinging for everybody to see. It's the woman showing off her breasts and her ass and all these other things. Because that's how the woman tries to project that energy of allure. The woman needs attention. She needs you to pay attention to her in various ways, because the woman is programmed to want to enrapture men or entrance men. And the main way that she does that is with the implication of sexual intercourse. Because to be quite frank with you, if you're a man of wisdom, there's not that much that the average woman has to offer you other than her vagina. It's really not that much. And if you're a dumb nigga right now listening to this, you're going to say, what you talking about? There's a lot that woman got to offer me. Yeah, because you're not a man of wisdom. When you become a man of wisdom, then you know a woman has to bring a lot more to the table to be taken seriously than just some ass. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And I sense that that is where Joe Budden is right now. And he probably sees this woman, Cyn Santana, and he says to himself, okay, I met her on the internet. She has big titties and a fat ass. But what else is she bringing to my table? The issue, though, is that she's already been impregnated. So there's not really anywhere that he can go. That's why I make these videos, so that brothers can comprehend certain situations before they happen. So when you get into those situations, hopefully we can make better decisions. That means more planned children as opposed to unplanned children. That means more children who are raised in a loving environment. That means that there are less troubles in the streets and less situations that can be avoided if we practice a more orderly form of conduct, things of that nature. And it starts with the so-called black man Number one, being able to discern the difference between a concubine and a wife. Number two, really number one, being able to gain a mastery over his lower members. Well, let's just read this paragraph again. Budden and Santana have been together since 2016 and welcomed a beautiful baby boy into the world last year in December. However, during the latest episode of Love and Hip Hop New York, Santana says she and Budden's sex life has been non-existent since giving birth. She even arranged for a hotel room so that she and her boo could get it on, but Budden rejected her efforts. Their conversation ended with the 26-year-old saying Budden has a senior citizen ass dick. No, not quite. In all reality, that senior citizen ass dick is out of bullets because he's been using them on his concubines while you've been laid up in the hospital. That's why the man does not want to sex you down, because he has side chicks, he has side pieces. That's another thing. If you're going to have concubines or multiple wives, you better make sure that you have all the ammo that you need to knock down all these targets. If you don't have the ammo, you're going to run into trouble. Now it says the internet was confused as to why Budden, who claimed he was too busy to do the nasty with Santana, would not want to have sex with his gorgeous model girlfriend. Well, the internet period is confused. In general, most people on the internet are confused. But when it comes to why he would not want to have sex with this person, it's kind of obvious to me. It's due to the fact that he has multiple side pieces and he's running out of ammo. He's running out of bullets. He's running out of bullets. Joe Budden is in the prime of his life as a man right now. The prime of your life as a man is from your mid-30s, I would say prior to your mid-40s, when it comes to the synchronicity of the physical and the mental. You might think that you're in your prime at 25, but it's just your physical prime. Your overall prime as a man is from, I would say, probably about the age of 34, 35 to about 46, 47, somewhere around there. As long as you keep yourself in relatively good condition mentally and physically. That's where you're going to be in your prime, because you're going to deal with people on your terms, or at least hopefully on your terms. In your early to mid-20s, you think that you're grown, but you're still a young man. Your brain is not fully formed yet, and that means that you could be manipulated. In your mid-30s and upward, at least hopefully, you're not going to allow yourself to be manipulated. You're not going to fall for the same hijinks. Once again, the internet was confused as to why Budden, who claimed he was too busy to do the nasty with Santana, would not want to have sex with his gorgeous model girlfriend. She's not a model. She's an Insta-Tatiana. That's what this broad is. Everybody's a damn model now. Get on Instagram and take half your clothes off and show all them damn stretch marks and cellulite and saggy ass breastises, and all of a sudden supposedly you're a model. Get the hell out of here. Folks then began creating several theories as to what the reason could be. Let's see what the internet thinks, because there's so many deep people on the internet. It says, first one is, yup, he's gay. What a shock. Whenever a man turns down a woman in any capacity, people try to claim that you're a homosexual or something along those lines. You're impotent, so on and so forth. Men get shamed just as much, if not far more, than the women do who turn down a man. The next person says he might not want her now that she had his kid. Quiet as it's kept, some men lose attraction to women after they have kids for them, even if she still looks good. Sad. Sounds like this person is speaking from personal experience. I'm not going to say that that's not the case, or that what this person claims is an occurrence does not actually occur. I'm pretty sure that it does. But I would also say that there's probably situations that go on when after a woman gets pregnant and has a child, that she herself is even more emotional and sensitive than normal, and it makes her feel less sexy, and that energy starts to exude itself off of her, and the man picks up on it, and he gets turned off. You know, sexiness a lot of times is just a vibe. It's about how you view yourself, how you perceive yourself. And I'm sure that there are many females who, once they give birth to a child, they don't feel very sexy, and they're looking to their man to make them feel sexy. And many times the man feeds off the energy of the woman. So that's when you have to communicate. And I mean, as a man, you should be able to read your woman relatively well, and hopefully you know when she needs you for something. The next person says, that's because Joe likes men's. The person after this person says he hella old, he probably can't get it up no more. So every time that a woman wants to be chaste or she wants to be abstinent, it's because her coochie is dry like sandpaper, according to that logic or lack thereof. Next person says his dick don't work. Next person says Joe too busy having men crushes. Look, let me say this. I don't know Joe Budden, so maybe the man is going both ways or pansexual, what have you. He is in the music industry. I don't know. What I will say is that people like to castigate men who turn down a woman for sex. Next person says, see, I knew Joe wasn't hitting that right. She fine as fuck, his old ass. Yes, he's having so many problems hitting it that she's literally begging him for sex. That's how dumb a lot of these idiots are on the internet. And that's simp.com too. Simps always run up on a chick who already has a man and try to woo her with some claims that he's going to hit it better than her man is hitting it. Really, that's coming off like a homosexual. You're trying to compare your sexual performance to another man. However, Budden addressed the gay and Viagra rumors in an interview with The Breakfast Club on Tuesday, November 27th. Joe Budden says, if I never had sex again, I'd be okay. Brothers, you know what Joe Budden means by that? What he means by that is that when he wakes up, he's not thinking about pussy. When he goes to sleep, he's not thinking about pussy. If it comes, it comes. His mind is on his money and making sure that he can advance himself as an individual. Pussy is still great. He still loves it, but it's like cake. It's like ice cream. It's not like the main course. It's a part of his life, but he's not waking up, leaving the house saying, where am I going to get my next piece of pussy from? That's all he means. When he says if he never has sex again, he wouldn't mind. Or maybe he's being literal. Maybe he's transcended to the level where he literally does not need no more pussy for the rest of his damn life. And just rap and host the radio shows for the rest of his life and not care. But what this comes off to me as when I read these statements is that he has too many side chicks. He's losing too many bullets. And he has none left for his quote-unquote main chick. And on top of that, he also, he knows where to and how to spread his seed, and he could turn it off and turn it on whenever he wants. Because that's a part of semen retention as I interpret it. Of course, that's not the literal interpretation. The literal interpretation is to retain your seed and not to have an ejaculation. But it's also about, having discretion in who you orgasm with, who you lay down with, so on and so forth. You have females who are concubines out here. You have females who are wife material women out here. And once again, when you decide to spread your seed according to discretion and prudence, people are going to be taken aback because, once again, especially if you're a so-called black man, every person believes that any woman who hits on you, you're supposed to be honored. So once again, Joe Budden says, if I never had sex again, I'd be okay. I'm trying to ride the toddler thing as long as I can. In other words, he's doing what many women normally do. When a woman has a child, she'll claim that she's too tired to have sex because she's taking care of the baby. So Joe Budden is flipping it. And that's another reason, brothers, by the way, why women are against a man having multiple wives. Because it puts them in the position where they have to moderate and monitor their own conduct and how there's a correlation between their conduct and the attention or lack thereof that they're getting from their man. The multiple wife dynamic acts as a check and a balance. That's why certain cultures, that's why they practice it. And of course also to maintain control over the entire population, make sure that everything is properly moderated, the woman and the child. He silenced critics who claimed he was impotent and was no longer attracted to Santana. No, I don't need a pill, but they're fun sometimes. I am a romantic Virgo. He went on to say that he cares deeply for his girlfriend, but finding time to have sex between working multiple gigs can be difficult. Bullshit. Joe Budden, be honest. You have hoes in different area codes. That's the main chick that you're claiming for TV purposes, but at the end of the day, she's just one in a long list of females. The thing is that you decide when you want to run up in her, just like you decide when you want to run up in these other broads. In a recent photo of he and Santana on his Instagram account, Budden wrote, "You already know I'm grateful for you and ours. Love you, babe." That's his way of saying you already know what the deal is. As soon as I get back into town, when I touch down, my clip is going to be reloaded, and I'm going to unload on you. But anyway, brothers, that's basically it on that. I just saw this article and found it to be very interesting. Once again, when we control our bottom head, a lot of the problems that we have, especially in our late teens into early 20s, will go away. A lot of the mistakes that brothers make in their mid to late teens, early 20s, are based on sexual intercourse with these random females. And brothers, the average female is a random broad. Okay? Are there special ones out there? Absolutely. But the average female is replaceable. Believe me. Certain people might get upset by that. I don't give a shit. It is what it is. You have to make sure that you put the Most High first. Everything else will flow from there. So peace.